Every year in the US, over 800,000 older adults are hospitalized just because of a single fall. It might sound minor, but the consequences are far from it. Femoral fractures, loss of mobility, dependence on others, and more seriously, the feeling of losing one's own autonomy. Some people simply slip a step when entering the bathroom, but the consequences can last for months. Others don't fall, but still gradually lose confidence because just standing for long periods makes their legs tremble and climbing stairs leaves them breathless and with tired thighs. It's not because they're lazy, not because they're weak, but because their legs aren't being cared for properly. And many people actually don't know that legs can be maintained daily, just like we care for our teeth, protect our hearts, or preserve our memory. And this is something that can change in a simpler way than you might think. No special equipment needed, no gym membership, no extra cost. Just understanding correctly and starting with one small thing every day. In this video, I'll share with you a series of simple tips, very small things that are proven to actually impact the strength and stability of your legs after age 50. These are easy to do at home tips that won't make you tired, don't require difficult techniques, but are supported by sufficient scientific data. And most importantly, they fit the rhythm, time, and physical condition of older Americans. If you ever thought you had to accept your legs gradually weakening with age, I hope this video will open up a different path, gentler, more accessible, and more practical. And if you're asking yourself, so where should I start? Then here's tip number 1. Also the most important foundation for keeping your legs from weakening day by day. Drink enough water with electrolytes. It sounds too simple, but that very simplicity causes many people to overlook it, and the consequence is a silent cascade of problems, from nighttime cramps, numb feet, to staggering and loss of balance when standing up. All of it can stem from one small thing: dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. We'll delve into the mechanism behind this seemingly harmless phenomenon, why people over 60 need to pay more attention to water than younger individuals, and especially how to drink so it doesn't cause swelling, harm your heart or kidneys, but still adequately nourishes your legs every day. I've met quite a few older patients who came to the clinic complaining about nighttime cramps, weakened feet when standing for long periods, or feeling unsteady when taking the first few steps after sitting for a while. The first thing I ask them isn't about medication, but how much water have you had today? The answer is usually maybe about a glass in the morning, then a little when I take my pills. And that explains a lot. You might not notice, but if your body loses just 1 to 2% of its water content, your electrolyte balance is already disrupted. At this point, the concentrations of sodium and potassium in your blood start to deviate from ideal levels. This directly affects the activity of muscle cell membranes, which determine every contraction and relaxation of each leg muscle fiber. When depolarization is disrupted, signals from the brain to the legs are no longer smooth, and that's when cramps appear, or your foot suddenly loses its grip when you stand up. This doesn't just cause discomfort, it also carries a potential risk of falling, one of the leading causes of hospitalization for people over 65. A recent clinical synthesis published in Stat Pearls in 2025 clearly emphasized dehydration and electrolyte imbalance are directly related to the risk of cramps and falls in older adults. It's no coincidence that medical records for the over 65 age group consistently show a sharp increase in imbalance on hot days, or after light exercise without proper rehydration. So, the first and easiest thing you can do to keep your legs stable every day is to ensure your body is adequately hydrated and has enough electrolytes. Now you might be wondering, so can I just drink a lot of water? The answer is not necessarily. Not. For young people, drinking 500-700 ml, about 17 to 24 ounces of water at once is not a problem. But in older adults, the kidneys no longer function as quickly as before. If you only drink plain water without electrolytes, or worse, drink too much water in a short period, your body can excrete more sodium, leading to mild hyponatremia, which can cause confusion, dizziness, and also lead to loss of balance. Therefore, I always advise patients over 60 to apply a simple but effective principle. 30-35 ml of water for every kg of body weight per day. That means if you weigh about 60 kilos, approx 132 lbs, you should aim for about 1.8 to 2 liters, approximately 60-67 ounces of water spread throughout the day. No need to drink too much at once. Divide it into 5 to 6 times, drink slowly, and prioritize warm water. On hot days when you exercise a lot, sweat, or feel dry lips and tired, try this. Dissolve 1/4 teaspoon of table salt in 250 ml, about 8.5 ounces, of warm filtered water, stir well, and drink slowly. If you don't like that slightly salty taste, you can use a mild electrolyte tablet, available over the counter at pharmacies, and follow the instructions on the packaging. However, if you are taking special medications, for example, diuretics, blood pressure control medications, or if you have a history of heart failure or kidney failure, do not arbitrarily increase your water or salt intake. In such cases, you should consult your doctor before changing your daily water intake. And if you notice symptoms like swollen feet, swollen ankles, or mild shortness of breath when lying down, these could be signs that your body is retaining too much water. And at this point, drinking more could be counterproductive. Some patients ask me, do tea, soup, milk count as water? The answer is, they can count partially, but you still need to prioritize plain water or diluted electrolyte drinks. Coffee and alcohol are not counted because they can act as diuretics and lead to further dehydration. If you need a simple way to maintain your daily water intake without having to remember many numbers, here's a very easy tip to apply. Start your morning with a small glass of water right after waking up. After each main meal, drink another glass to help your body digest well and replenish lost fluids. In the mid-morning and mid-afternoon, just remind yourself to drink another small glass each time, and that's enough. And on hot days, after walking, gardening, or feeling a bit tired, you can mix up a light electrolyte drink. That's when your body needs a boost to keep your legs from tiring out. You don't need to wait until you feel thirsty to drink, because by then, your body has already started to become dehydrated. Consistent drinking throughout the day, even if it's not a lot each time, is the key to maintaining stability. It might sound like a small matter, but if you implement this little tip every day, you'll clearly feel it. Nighttime cramps will become less frequent, the tingling fatigue in your feet will ease, and the most valuable thing is, you'll stand up more easily, walk lighter, and maintain balance more steadily than before. A timely glass of water is not a cure, but it is the foundation of stability, something your legs, after 60, need more than anything else. Are you ready to level up your next step? If you're adequately hydrated, step outside, because the gentle sunlight out there is waiting for your legs to recharge. Tip number 2, get 10-15 minutes of midday sun exposure. Even if you eat well, drink enough water, and exercise regularly, your legs can still weaken if they lack something special that the body doesn't produce enough of on its own, vitamin D from sunlight. For young people, a few minutes in the sun while walking, playing sports, or walking the dog is enough. But in older adults, the amount of vitamin D synthesized from natural light gradually decreases because the skin is thinner, contains fewer precursors, and the conversion ability slows down. The result is that even if you consume a lot of calcium and drink enough water, calcium is not effectively absorbed into the bones and muscles, especially the weight-bearing muscle groups in the thighs and calves are also not properly activated. I often tell my patients, getting sun exposure at the right time and for the right duration is how you naturally recharge your musculoskeletal system without needing any pills. But not just stepping out into the sun works. The timing and method are crucial. Scientifically, when you expose areas of your skin, such as your forearms and lower legs, to UVB rays from sunlight, your body converts a precursor present in the skin called 7-dehydrocholesterol into vitamin D3, cholecalciferol. This form is then further converted by the liver and kidneys into 1025-dihydroxyvitamin D, which is the hormone capable of increasing calcium absorption from the intestines and awakening deep muscle fibers in the legs. Specifically, type 2 muscle fibers, responsible for explosive power and reflexability when you stumble, depend quite heavily on mTOR, a biological mechanism indirectly activated by vitamin D. When vitamin D is deficient, you not only lose bone density, but also reduce your basic reaction ability when you need to maintain balance or stand up quickly. A recent double-blind study confirmed this. People over 65 with low vitamin D levels were supplemented with 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily for 12 months. The results showed a significant increase in leg power, SPPB scores, short physical performance battery, and leg strength retention compared to the non-supplemented group. But there's a natural, effective, and free way, proper daily sun exposure. So how do you do it right? I advise patients to choose the time slot from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. when the UV index reaches QD3 or higher, because this is when UVB rays are strongest and vitamin D synthesis is most effective. You just need to stand on your balcony, in front of your porch, or take a light stroll in the park, exposing your forearms and lower legs for about 10 to 15 minutes. For those with darker skin, the necessary time may increase to about 20 minutes. As melanin pigment absorbs some UVB rays, you don't need to wear a swimsuit, you don't need to expose your whole body. Just letting the sunlight touch small skin areas like your arms and legs is enough. Afterward, you can put on long sleeves, wear a hat, or apply sunscreen if you'll be exposed to the sun for longer. I know some people worry, is sun exposure bad for my skin? And that's a very reasonable question. The answer is exposing yourself for the right amount of time, no more than 20 minutes per session, will not cause skin damage. However, if you have a history of skin cancer, have experienced actinic keratosis, or are taking sun-sensitizing medications, like some antibiotics, diuretics, you should consult your doctor before doing it regularly. Additionally, if you live in an area with less sun, or during winter when UV levels are below 3, sun exposure will not produce enough vitamin D. In that case, you can consider supplementation with pills, 1,000, 2,000 IU day, but only after getting a blood test to confirm your current vitamin D level. For most people living in consistently sunny areas, like most of the US, light midday sun exposure is a healthy and free way to strengthen both bones and muscles. After a few weeks of consistent sun exposure, many people tell me they feel better mentally, sleep better, their legs are less tired, and most importantly, they feel like they are proactively doing something for their own health. Stepping out onto the porch once, sitting in the sun for 10 minutes once, is also a gentle reminder. I am still taking care of my body, one step at a time. And once the sunlight has fully charged your legs, you're ready to move on to the next step, a short action, just a few minutes each day, but one that will activate the least noticed muscle groups, your calves. Tip number 3, calf raise in place. Once sunlight has awakened your bones and muscles, the next step is to awaken the blood flow in your legs, because sometimes the feeling of numbness, coldness, or extreme fatigue in your feet and calves doesn't come from your bones. It comes from sluggish blood circulation. And the interesting thing is, you can improve this right in your kitchen while waiting for water to boil for your morning tea or coffee. Just stand straight, lift your heels off the ground, then lower them, repeating many times. It sounds almost too simple to be true, but if you understand the mechanism behind it, you'll see this is one of the best silent assistants for your legs, especially for those over 60. Your calves, specifically the two main muscle groups, the gastrocnemius and soleus, act as a venous pump for your lower body. When you lift your heels, these muscles contract, gently squeezing the deep veins, pushing blood from your legs back up to your heart. Not just blood, but also lymph fluid, the type of fluid that causes leg swelling if it accumulates, is also moved by this contraction. When you sit for too long or stand still for too long without moving, blood will pool in the lower vessels, causing feelings of numbness, fatigue, and heavy legs. As you age, your venous valves weaken, and the natural contractile ability of your muscles also decreases. That's why many older adults feel their legs are no longer flexible, even though they don't actually have any serious bone or joint damage. Therefore, this simple exercise, calf raise, is a way to reactivate circulation and nourish your lower limbs every day. And it doesn't stop there. Another great aspect of this movement is that it helps increase ankle explosive power, which is very important for maintaining balance when you stumble, miss a step, or need to react quickly. A recent study published on PubMed tested calf raises in 34 men aged 68 to 78, divided into two groups. One group performed this exercise 3 sessions per week for 8 weeks, and the other group did nothing. The results? The exercise group showed significantly better ankle rate of torque development, RTD, and balance scores compared to the control group. Regarding how to exercise, I recommend standing behind a sturdy chair, gently holding onto the back of the chair, then slowly raising your heels, holding for 1 second, and then lowering them. Do 15 repetitions, rest for 30 seconds, then do a second set. It takes less than 3 minutes, enough time for water to boil in the kettle or the oven to preheat. And you can repeat this 2 to 3 times a day, spread across morning, afternoon, and evening. I often tell my patients, turn calf raises into a micro habit. Don't wait until you have free time because you'll forget. Instead, pair it with familiar activities, while waiting for soup to reheat, while brushing your teeth, or while waiting for the washing machine to finish a cycle. One important point to mention: if you have severe knee osteoarthritis, start very slowly, or lift only one leg at a time. If you feel pain in your Achilles tendon, behind the heel, stop and rest for a few days. Do not try to exercise if you have tendon pain, because calf raises primarily affect that area. For beginners or those with long-term muscle weakness, you can start by sitting in a chair, pressing your toes into the floor to lift your heels, then gradually progress to standing when you feel more stable. This exercise can also be combined with a light resistance band wrapped around your feet to increase resistance once you're accustomed to it. After a few weeks, what you gain may not be visibly larger calves, but a feeling of lightness when walking, less numbness when standing for long periods, and a new stability in every step. I have a 72-year-old patient who used to have swollen legs and walked with difficulty after many years of office work. After consistently doing calf raises every day, combined with adequate hydration and sun exposure, she said, "My legs feel less sluggish. It's easier to walk, and I don't feel the urge to sit down immediately after standing for a while anymore." That's the wonderful thing about small movements. And once your leg muscles have started to respond and circulation has improved, it's time to move on to the most important part: maintaining balance. Because ultimately, legs aren't just for standing, they're for keeping you standing steadily. Get ready for a gentle, slow training tip that impacts your entire sensory and nervous system. Tip number 4: Tai Chi. In truth, falls in older adults rarely come from a simple slip. They're often a cumulative effect: weak ankles, slow reflexes, diminished body position awareness, and most importantly, a gradual loss of confidence. These things cannot be improved simply by walking or drinking milk. They need to be retrained subtly through exercises that integrate the musculoskeletal system and sensory nerves. If you've never practiced Tai Chi, you might think it's just a series of slow movements with no real exercise. But it's precisely because it's slow that it achieves what fast exercises cannot. It forces you to feel every movement of your body, every shift in your center of gravity, every point of contact your foot makes with the ground. Tai Chi requires you to shift your weight from one leg to the other precisely. Each movement is a coordinated effort of your thigh muscles, glutes, core, and even your ankles. You don't jump, run, or deep squat, yet your entire sensory and motor control nervous system is powerfully activated. A meta-analysis that reviewed over 3,000 people over 60 who practiced Tai Chi concluded that Tai Chi not only helps improve balance scores, but also significantly reduces the risk of falls within 6 to 12 months of practice. The effect was more pronounced in those who practiced 3 or more sessions per week. I've met many older adults who, after a few weeks of practicing Tai Chi, shared that they felt lighter, knew how they were standing, and could even sleep better due to the deep relaxation after each session. As for how to start, you don't need to learn too many complex forms. Just a simple sequence of 8 forms, called the 8 form, is enough for a 20-minute practice. You can find instructional videos from senior centers or free online classes with 3 sessions per week. The important thing isn't to mimic the instructor exactly, but to do it at your own pace, focusing on each step, each movement. The ideal practice schedule is sunny mornings or cool afternoons, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 20 minutes each session. Each session includes 2 minutes of arm and shoulder warm up, 15 minutes performing the 8 forms, 3 minutes of cool down at the end. No exercise mat needed. Just a flat, non-slippery floor wide enough for you to extend your arms and step comfortably. You can wear non-slip socks or thin-soled shoes as long as you clearly feel the soles of your feet touching the ground. If you're new to it, stand near a railing or handrail as a precaution against losing balance. Practice on a flat surface, barefoot or wearing thin-soled shoes to increase foot sensation. One point I often emphasize is if you have severe knee osteoarthritis, reduce the depth of your knee bends, keep movements comfortable, and avoid repeating too many rotational poses if you have a history of dizziness or balance issues due to inner ear problems. After a while, you'll realize that Tai Chi isn't just exercise. It's a form of moving meditation, helping you reacquaint yourself with your body, relearning how to feel and control it, something that age has gradually taken away without us realizing. And once your leg muscles have started to respond, circulation is flowing, and balance has improved, there's another skill that needs to be awakened: the explosive power of your legs, which can help you quickly step out of a slippery patch, climb a high step, or simply get up from a chair without using your hands. In the next section, we won't need an exercise mat or a gym, just the stairs in your house, a simple but incredibly effective strength training tool, clinically validated. Are you ready to sprint with the stairs? There's a piece of equipment for training your thigh and glute muscles that you don't need to buy, doesn't take up space, and is always right in your house. You know it, it's the stairs. But just climbing a few steps isn't enough. For older adults, the key isn't the number of steps, it's the type of steps. Normally, we climb stairs slowly, one step at a time, primarily for movement. But when you change the way you climb, not walking leisurely, but climbing decisively, quickly, and in short, intermittent bursts, your entire quadriceps, gluteus maximus, and even your calves immediately have to mobilize full force. This is a form of mini HIIT, high intensity but extremely short bursts of exercise, and it's especially effective for people over 60. I recall a very interesting study where people aged 65 to 80 were divided into two groups. One group trained at a gym with a leg press machine, a type of leg pushing machine specifically used in rehabilitation. The other group simply sprinted stairs 3 times a day. The results after 12 weeks? The two groups improved almost equally in walking speed, leg push strength, and ability to stand up from a chair. A valuable lesson: you don't need complex equipment to regain strength. You just need to know how to utilize what you already have. So what does sprinting mean? It's very simple. You choose a free moment, for example, after washing your hands in the morning or before lunch. Then you quickly climb 10 to 12 stairs decisively and using the handrail. Stop, breathe steadily, wait for your heart rate to come down, then continue with a second set and a third set at a different time of day. In total, 3 sets per day, just a few minutes, but with a powerful impact on your entire thigh and glute muscles. Many people worry that climbing quickly can be dangerous, but if you wear shoes with good grip, use a sturdy handrail, and listen to your body, this is a safe and extremely effective exercise, especially when integrated into your daily routine. You don't need to set aside time for exercise. You just need to turn short minutes between activities into opportunities to train your legs. I often advise, don't exercise after a full meal, as circulation is directed towards digestion. Also, don't climb if you are dizzy, have low blood pressure, or have just taken strong diuretics. And for those with heart conditions or a history of stroke, you need to consult your doctor beforehand for safe clearance. The amazing thing is, after a few weeks of consistent practice, you will clearly feel it. Your thighs are no longer loose, your glutes are firmer, and climbing stairs genuinely becomes easier. You won't need to take a deep breath to get a running start before each step, because your legs will have started to remember what it feels like to be strong. Think of the stairs as a silent but dedicated companion. Every step up is a message. You can still do it. and tomorrow it will be even better than today. Once you've had enough water, enough sun, have felt the balance from Tai Chi and the steadiness from your calves, then this, the stairs, is the final step to take your legs to a new level. We've just gone through 5 simple tips, but if you look closely, each tip is not just a habit, but a piece in the map to keeping your legs steady after age 60. From a glass of electrolyte water first thing in the morning to slow Tai Chi movements in the afternoon. From the gentle sunlight hitting your calves to the rhythmic heel raises while waiting for the kettle to boil. And finally, the light breath after a decisive climb up the stairs. All are small signals sent to your body that we are still moving, still living actively, and still have many more steps to go. No one can stop time from passing, but we can choose how our legs walk through the years, slowly, steadily, and without breaking down. If you've ever felt afraid to step down a curb, hesitated before a long trip, or felt out of breath after just a few steps, then now is the time to reclaim that agency. No complex methods needed, no dense workout schedules, just a few minutes each day, and the belief that the body can always recover if listened to and nourished correctly. I can't promise these tips will change your life in just a week, but I can guarantee that if you persistently practice, little by little, your legs will respond with stability, flexibility, and the confidence you thought you had lost. So start with the smallest thing. Maybe it's drinking enough water today. Tomorrow, add a few minutes of sun exposure. After that, try gentle heel raises. And one day, you'll find yourself standing steadily in a Tai Chi class or climbing stairs without needing to hold on anymore. So, are you currently maintaining any of these 5 tips today? Or do you have your own personal habit that helps keep your legs strong that you'd like to share with the community? Leave a comment below, because who knows, your small experience might be a big ray of hope for someone else struggling to find their stability. If you found this video helpful, please hit like to help the YouTube algorithm send this content to the right people who need it. And if you want to continue this journey of healthy living after 60 with me, click subscribe and turn on notifications, because every week we'll meet again with easy to understand, easy to do, and truly valuable health tips. Thank you for staying until the very end. Wishing you steady steps always.